and welcome back to another episode of FPL Squad Picks. It's game week 8. Thanks for joining me. We're going to take a little look at some weekly tips, transfers, and I do have a wildcard draft at the end of this video as well. So if you do enjoy this video, please do give it a like and a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. You can also hit the notification bell not to miss any more content that are coming up soon. So it feels like a lifetime ago, but game week 7 was a few weeks back now with the international break taking place. I finished on a decent green arrow at 48 points, which wasn't the best score, but I'll take that overall. Ended up with a bit of a rank rise, got about 55,000 places up, which is better than nothing, but still not great performance. Considering I made 2 transfers in my team, I did take out Trent and Shaw and brought in Azpilicueta and Alonso. Unfortunately, it was the one time Alonso then did get benched for Chilwell to come in, who performed really well and has also been doing quite well for the international duty. It's still a bit of an unknown if Alonso will play anymore and if Chilwell will take his place back, but I can't see Alonso just getting benched and not seeing any more game time at all, so they might see a bit of an even split across the two. So a bit unsure about what to do with him this week, but we'll get into that a little later. My team for game week 7 was pretty much saved by some clean sheets and Salah being consistent, with a lot of average scores across the rest of the players, and my captain Ronaldo unfortunately not getting any returns at all. So moving on to the next game week of game week 8, I've got a little bit of a fixture focus here. I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but we have a little colour coded key at the top right hand corner. We've got green for a strong attack, pink for a strong defence, and blue for just general goals within that fixture. So as you can see from a general look at those games this game week, it does seem a little one-sided for quite a few of these fixtures. Starting with the top, we've got Liverpool there. I think they're going to have a good run against Watford. Some uncertainty around their squad players at the moment. I know that Trent has just recently come back from injury, so I'm not sure if he'll go straight back into the team. And also Jota's been doing really well and consistent, but also played for Portugal over the international break. So this could see Firmino come back into the team, which means Jota might get some bench time. Another good fixture to focus in would be Man City, but unless you're going for a defensive option in Man City, again you're going to play that Pep roulette and it's going to be a bit of an unknown who's going to be playing up front, especially with Ferran Torres now out. Another good game a lot of us have been looking for and a good team that's to focus on that have some good fixtures coming up is Chelsea. A lot of people have gone heavy on defence like myself, but even though I've got this highlighted as a strong attack and defence for Chelsea, I wouldn't totally rule out Brentford. They have shown they can play really well against the best of teams, and I don't think they're going to be an easy pushover. I can't see this being a massive score for Chelsea, and I think Brentford will give them a bit of a game. I've got Everton and West Ham highlighted as blue. I think this could be an opportunity to pick up some goals for both teams. Both have shown that they can score goals, but both have a bit of a leaky defence. And to finish off with the last two, I've gone for Spurs and Arsenal with a heavy attack. But again, for that Tottenham fixture, Spurs haven't been doing that great. Newcastle now under new ownership, I don't think it's going to be the instant hit that everyone is thinking. So it may take a bit of time to build on this Newcastle team. But saying that, they did have a really good game against Tottenham last season. So it might not be the easy walkover that Spurs are expecting. And also Arsenal have picked up a little bit and starting to show a bit more about them in the last previous fixtures. And with the former Arsenal legend Vieira at the helm at Crystal Palace, they have shown they can get some attacking returns as well. But it's still untold if they're going to be able to continue this form throughout the season. And I do think if an in-form Arsenal turn up, they'll have a little bit too much for Crystal Palace. If you like this video, please give it a like and hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell not to miss more content coming soon. If you'd like to keep up to date with the latest video posts, locked in team selections and chat during the game week, then you can follow me on Twitter at FPL Squad Picks. So here's my game week 8 team as it currently stands. Haven't made any transfers as of yet, and there are a few yellow flags running through the team that do need addressing. There's quite a few different transfer options this game week, and I think because they're all such small moves that I'm looking to make, there is quite a lot of different decision making that I've had to go through, and I'm still undecided. It'll probably come down to the wire to make that choice. I'm not too worried with the yellow flags that I have, minus the red flag on Obafemi. If you're looking at Rafinha, He did play in the international break and he played for Brazil and played really well, scored 2 goals in the last game, which was on the Thursday night. But being that he played so late on in the week and Leeds have a Saturday afternoon game, I do think that the travel back and that extra game time will see him sit out for this fixture, but that's not guaranteed yet. We will have to wait on some late team news to see if he is going to be playing or if he's even going to be starting. And the same goes for Sofal. He's down as a yellow flag. He played in the international break. I'm not sure on his injury updates as of yet, but that's something we'll have to wait out for and hope that he gets a start. But given my team at the moment, I could put out a starting 11 and just risk one of those players, and hopefully if one of them even plays, then I should have enough to get through this game week. But it is cutting it a little close, especially with Alonso in my team, because if he does get benched and rotated with Chilwell again, then it'll probably leave me with just a 10-man team. So some of the options that I've been looking at this game week would be to finally sort out that Obafemi issue and get rid of him and use the money that I had from last week's transfer of getting rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold and bring in Hwang for Wolves. He's done really well so far since starting at the team. He is only on loan, and because he started so strongly, I do think that they're probably going to want to get the most out of him while they've got him and see if that potentially could be made into a deal as a permanent deal for next season. The only issue with doing this is it's using that 1.1 million in the bank that came from the sale of Trent Alexander-Arnold. So if I do this move, I'm pretty much pricing myself out of Trent for the next few game weeks at least. And then until I hit the wild card, that's probably the only realistic time I'm going to be able to bring him back without having to bank a transfer and trying to do it in another game week where I have 2 free transfers. Now, given the way the fixtures are swinging slightly, I don't think that's the end of the world. You could go without Trent at the moment, but with his attacking ability, he only takes up 1 game against, say, Watford now, where most of us have got rid of him and brought in some Chelsea or Man City defenders. And if he gets a clean sheet and an attacking return, we'll all be pretty disappointed that we haven't made that move for him. Another move to mention feels a little bit like a sideways move, but it would be to bring in a Man City midfielder. Now, in this instance, I've taken out Greenwood and gone for Foden. But that Man City player could equally be Jack Grealish, who's at the same price point. Or if you have any more money, you could go for someone like Sterling, who's rumoured to have possibly getting more game time recently, as he's done really well for England, and looks like he may be pushing for a move away, unless he gets some more game time at City. But as good as those Man City fixtures look for the next 3 games at least, there is just a potluck in terms of who you're going to pick, if they're going to play, if they're going to start, and if they're actually going to get the results that you need. Because you could get these players and they could start all 3, but the goals come from so many different players across that Man City team, it could just happen to be that those players don't get any returns, or they just get assists, and you're better off sticking with what you had. So you are playing a big risk in putting those players in, and I think there's more sensible move if you're going to go for Man City players this game week, would maybe to build on their defensive assets. As I mentioned, I'm taking out Greenwood for this move. Now this could also be Jota, because I know that he is a current risk at the moment in terms of being rotated with Firmino, who's now back and performing quite well. And Klopp may just think that they wish to give Jota a bit more of a rest, as he's been playing so consistently for the team. But the reason that I've gone for Greenwood in this example is just that Man United's fixtures do get a little bit more difficult from this game week onwards. So it's slowly getting rid of those Man United players, as I'm not sure how many returns they're going to get, as they have been struggling as of late, and I think some other teams have a higher potential with the fixtures about to change in their favour. Another move I haven't really given an example of here, but it was something that I was definitely set on doing for this game week before all these injury doubts, was a straight move from Ronaldo to Lukaku. Now there was a little bit of doubt around Lukaku, but I don't think that's an actual serious injury. I think it's more just of a rest over the international break due to Belgium's fixtures being slightly easier and not necessarily needing Lukaku to get through the matches. But as I mentioned in the fixture focus part of the video earlier, I don't think Brentford are going to be the easy pushover team that most people think. Although on paper it looks good in terms of having a championship team come up against an informed Chelsea team. And Lukaku could definitely get a goal in this fixture, but I'm just not sure that it's going to be any better than Ronaldo, who's just performed really well for his country. Scoring a hat-trick will hopefully bring that form into the club level and get the same amount of goals, as Leicester have been looking a little bit leaky at the back as well, and not to their usual strong defence himself. So all that being said, I know that a lot of other managers this game week are looking at potential wildcard, so I decided to make a quick little wildcard draft. I haven't gone into too much detail, but I've just focused on this week's fixtures and looked at the next 2 at least, and tried to think if they've got a decent run of games, that would mean that even next week I wouldn't need to make a transfer if I did go for something like this team. Because I think that's the goal for most wildcarders. If you can get a team that's decent for this week and also next week, not needing a transfer, and you can bank that transfer, that gives you 2 free to roll forward until any issues crop up that you need addressing. So just to note a few key differences from my current team that I've got, there is Saka that's brought into this team, as I do think that he showed some really good attacking threat, even for a struggling Arsenal, who are now starting to turn a little bit and get themselves into a better position. And Mbeumo is also a really good price point, but also very attacking for Brentford. And after this Chelsea game, their fixtures are a little bit easier as well. And they've got at least 1 or 2 good fixtures across the next 3 game weeks. So definitely someone to think about bringing in to free up some money and maybe sit on the bench for this game week, but certainly to bring in then for the next 2 game weeks ready. And as you can see in defence, I have brought in Trent Alexander-Arnold, along with a Man City and Chelsea defender. Now usually I do try to go for the fullbacks if I can, and there's a potential here that if Reece James is fit, then you could bring in him instead of Azpilicueta. But I do think Azpilicueta can be a very attacking player if he's allowed to play on that right hand side. But even if he isn't on that right hand side, he usually gets a good amount of minutes as a centre defender. So I think there's a bit of scope here to be able to change these players around and certainly free up some more money if you wanted a bit more value in your midfield. So you could change Azpilicueta down to someone like Rudiger. And you could also change Cancelo down to someone like Laporte, who seems to be getting some decent minutes at the moment in that centre defensive role as well. But unless you were going to look to bring in someone like a Man City midfielder for someone like Mbeumo and upgrade him, or even Ben Rama, I'm not sure I would need that money elsewhere just yet. For the defensive enablers, I've gone for Duffy and Marcel. Wolves' defence has looked increasingly better as the season's gone through, and Marcel has also been quite attacking. And after a depleted Brighton defence saw Duffy get his chance in the defensive lineup, I think he's someone that will continue to hold his spot in a team that's got some decent fixtures that you could rotate around with any one of those 3 defenders from Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool. For the goalkeepers in this team, I've actually gone for Sanchez and Ramsdale, so that's 2 above the 4 million marker. Now I know that a lot of managers like to go for a 4 million just to have as bench fodder and go with the 1 keeper option, and I do think out of these 2, going forward across the coming fixtures, I think Ramsdale is the option to go for, because I do think that Arsenal are showing some slight improvements. And as the weeks go forward, it does show that Leno, I think, has lost his place to Ramsdale on a more permanent basis. But again, I could downgrade Sanchez to bring in Foster, saving that 0.5 million and either banking that money or upgrading someone in the starting lineup. Feel free to leave a comment below about who you think will be vital this week and going forward. If you feel I've missed anyone, put their name below to hear mine and other managers' thoughts. If you like this video, please give it a like and hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell not to miss more content coming soon. Thanks for watching.